We love a cozy sew along over here, but this is something else entirely. We're in the final 2 weeks of our 13-week challenge to create essentially a 12-look runway show. And to say we are down to the wire doesn't even begin to cover it. I'm Leigh, your resident sustainable fashion designer. Welcome to my studio. If you love being inspired, watching the creative process unfold, and seeing jaw-dropping designs you didn't even see coming, trust me, you're not going to want to skip forward at all because there are surprises, design revelations. There was so much to do this week. It's jam-packed. With only 1 week left to finish this entire collection, we need 6 full looks. Finished, or I'll even take started. So by the end of this week, you'll find out, have we met our goal or are we in trouble? Oh, and if you're brand new, you'll want to catch up on the full series, but I'll link that at the end because you're going to want to watch this one first. The punch needle hoodie was still incomplete going into this week, and I realized today why that was. Looking at it flat, I couldn't fully envision what I wanted to have happen without trying it on. I did get the hood fitted today and realized that yes, I do want punch needling on the hood. That is gonna really enhance it, but I'm still not sure if I want punch needling on the front. My concern is more around being visually overwhelming since the sleeves do have so much interest on them. We have the holes, we have this lower piece, and I took the punch needling out on this because I'm going to redo it. But to say I'm happy with how this is turning out is like an understatement. Seeing it on is also helping me figure out some of the color scheme. I really don't like this purple. I'm not quite sure why I did that when I have something that's closer to the color that I'm looking for. I'm gonna swap this probably. I'm pulling a lot of the colors from this really cool puzzle rug. Some of the color combinations are really unexpected and look really amazing. So yeah, sadly, I think I'm gonna unwind this. One thing I definitely underestimated in this whole process is that kind of marination of ideas has been taking a little bit longer than I was expecting. Letting this evolve, I did have another concept in mind where the cutouts were in a different placement for this to be a t-shirt that I have sketched out. A short sleeved t-shirt version with a glove all the way up made out of the tweed that was from the pants. The proportion will be really fun and boxy with a few interesting cutouts that I had thought about doing for this, but it's just too much for one thing. And editing is definitely a skill in this field. You don't really see tweed gloves very often. I just love the idea of like an opera length glove juxtaposed with a t-shirt shape that's oversized in a really 3D punch needling. I'm having so much fun doing this. I almost don't want this to be the last 2 weeks. Let's make a glove pattern. I've made gloves before, but never with a pattern. So I'm just gonna trace a glove pattern and you get to watch live and see how it turns out. This isn't a tutorial, we're just winging it. Gloves are a very challenging shape. Seams in the gloves are an issue because just think about if you put your hand in a glove and it's fitted, you want to minimize seams. And one way that we can do that is by making the fold along the outside of the arm. I plan on making gloves out of this material, but I'm worried it might be a little thick, so I'm gonna make some out of this and see how it goes. Do a little hand gymnastics there. Opera glove length is what it's called when it comes up to like your mid bicep. Since my fabric doesn't have any stretch, to accommodate that, I'm gonna have elasticated areas. Okay, so I've gotten to there. Now more arm. 2 gloves, a thumb, 2 thumbs. Also cut out are the pieces for a jumpsuit in that same fabric. At this point in the process, our lineup should be coming together, which is how the different pieces for the collection are going to be mixed and matched to form cohesive looks and to make sure that the collection itself has a nice cohesion to it. I was looking at photos last night and was like, I have not properly photographed everything yet, so that's something we will have done by the end of this episode. I want to lift the lid for a second and give you a window into how these ideas started synthesizing and ended up turning into something very, very different than where I had started from. Even if you're not somebody who sews or designs, it's such a fascinating process. But there was a comment on the last punch needling hoodie update about how punch needling would be too thick and cumbersome. Couldn't imagine wearing a full garment made of punch needling, which is absolutely their prerogative. Not all fashion is for all people, nor does it need to be. But I had put a lot of effort into making sure that the density was correct to solve those problems. I was like, I'm going to make an oversized t-shirt that just the entire thing is going to be punch needling. There's going to be no white visible. It's just going to be saturated. And then as I started playing with it, I was thinking about little cutouts on the sleeves, something kind of puzzly about it. That idea ended up getting commandeered by a jacket, the hoodie, with a very silky skirt shape. Got me thinking, what if it was all one piece? What if we had this oversized t-shirt that then bloused over into just the silkiest skirt? Our design becomes more complicated because it needs to be cut on a diagonal, something called the bias. You don't need to know what that is. You just need to know that it adds stretch. I was looking through some old photos of mine from my OG fashion blogger days, and I saw this dress with this back cut out, and I was like, oh, that is so lovely. I then updated the sketch and it became a back cutout on that oversized t-shirt. But then if all goes well, it will have a skirt that makes it almost like draped evening wear. The skirt shape is going to reflect that floor-length trumpet used in the sleeping bag dress. So you can see we're starting to close loops in terms of these pieces. There's nothing fancy. It's just I'm trying to execute on things and move quickly. But as I'm doing this, ideas are just popping up left and right. It's an exciting place to be. So let's see how much I get done. I want you to experience this with me as we pin it on and see what that shape's gonna look like. And then for the neckline, what it will either do is I could do the full like t-shirt feel, which could be really lovely, or bring in the neckline with the top here like this. And then once this has a shoulder to hang off of, you see how it'll create this really just nice drape into the front here. That gives it much more of an evening wear look. I never really fancied myself a gown designer, but that's quite lovely. Happy Friday. Welcome back to the studio. If you aren't subscribed, this is your sign so that you can get in on this conversation. Yesterday, Thursday, I thought I would solicit your support in trying to determine some of the punch needle placement on the hoodie. I'm excited to see if anyone got back to me. Thank you, Erica. Yeah, that's pretty much the same sentiment that I've been feeling. I'm trying to not overdo the punch needling just for the sake of punch needling. Lots to do today. Okay, design team, time to have a look at our lineup. And remember, this is the final week of this 13-week challenge. So if you have any thoughts on any of the pieces, any suggestions, this is your last chance to let me know what your feedback is. So let's see if we have 6 full looks. Well, I know we don't have 6 full ones, but let's see how far we've gotten. First up, we have the hoodie. Now, this photographed, really unfortunately, I think one of the challenges is still not having the lower part of the sleeve attached. So I have it pressed against my sides, taking the photo, which does not help with how the overall fit and feel looks. But I think, as you can see, when I use it as a placeholder later in the t-shirt, it just looks so nice, so boxy, exactly how I wanted it. I would say counts as about half of a look. We have the wide leg herringbone tweed trousers. Those are just so gorgeous. We still need a top there. We also need a top to go with the faux leather pants, which are looking really gorgeous. There might be an opportunity to do some sort of a jacket there or a shearling moment. I have a fabric back shearling that I think might look fabulous. I want to pause for a moment on this gown. I've already been asked, does it fit in with the rest of the collection in that silk? And I absolutely think it does fit in, since it's the skirt shape from the sleeping bag and then a not quite seen yet shape that will be this t-shirt with the cutout. It does look so different from everything else, and yet it's just a combination of other elements that are already within this collection. Potentially there's a place for me to bring this fabric in somewhere else, since I do have 2 pairs of trousers here that need something on top to go with them. So we have 4 looks in progress. I have a placeholder here because we have the jumpsuit cut out. It just isn't sewn up yet. The silk organza overlay over the knit. Then this is a placeholder for the t-shirt version of the punch needle. This is already cut out, ready to be put together and punch needled the heck out of. Last but not least, the sleeping bag dress still has a bunch of work that it needs to have done to get it to where it needs to be. I'm thinking of potentially losing the shoulder on one side, since we already went full evening with this silk number. Why not go a little bit more extreme with the sleeping bag dress as well? So that gives us 7. We're overachieving. No, it gives us 7 partial looks. We still have 5 more looks that are not here and don't have any pieces. So there still is a lot of work to be done. I'm gonna be doing a lot of sewing this weekend. We have 1 week left. If you want to weigh in, now is the time. Next week's episode you won't want to miss. It's our dramatic finale. We have 5 more looks that need to be created between now and then. Make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss out on all of these conversations we're gonna have. I may ask for more feedback on specific pieces on the community tab, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But until then, I will see you in the comments. I can't wait to hear what you think of everything. I'll see you next week.